Welcome to Coachability, the practice of leadership with Shauna Griffiths. And we're live. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Coachability. Good morning, Shauna. How you doing?
Good morning. Fantastic. Absolutely so honored and excited to be here with you today. Good morning, everybody.
Yes, I'm so excited to have this opportunity to have you on the show, Shauna. I got to say that, one of the biggest fears that I ever had was public speaking. And here I am live on LinkedIn. How you doing with this opportunity? I know you've done one LinkedIn Live so far.
Yeah, I did one LinkedIn Live. It's so funny. I've had my own podcast for over 3 years. So to me, you and I are just talking. I know the audience is there, but I can't let myself freak myself out. So it's just, like you said, I'm so excited about this. And I truly feel it's an honor to be able to be here with you and to be here with all of you who are in the audience. And, I think some of this is about how are we having real conversations? How are we talking about stuff that people are whispering about? And then that's where we can all take ourselves. And I talk so much in the kind of sports parallels, because how can we all take ourselves like to the next level of our game? So, again, that's part of why I'm so excited about this conversation and to come back here with you.
Awesome. So special shout out to Chasen Forehand. If it wasn't for him and me seeing you on his show, this wouldn't have happened. So special shout out to Chasen and
Absolutely.
HR for You, wonderful nonprofit organization which helps people to have employment in situations where it's impossible. So he's doing wonderful things in that organization, and special thanks to him.
Yeah,
So Shauna
absolutely.
is a values-driven business leader who authentically creates coaching and consulting experiences that engage and involve people and companies in pursuit of their optimal performance. She's the founder of SLG Impact and the Leadership Athlete Platform. She's co-founder of the Creative Leadership League coaching program and retreat. And she's a senior consultant in revenue growth for the management consulting firm Changeforce. So we're going to talk about all of that. But before we start, though, what was your childhood dream?
To play basketball. Period. New paragraph. Now I say that because I started playing basketball at the age of 10, and someone who is a first draft class leadership athlete, which we'll explain a little bit later. He is to this day a mentor to me, Alonzo Littlejohn, LJ. He rolled out of basketball one day and I fell in love with the game and the concept of coaching and being coachable, coachability, folks. That's what we're here talking about today. And that sense of team. And so I just kind of became pretty focused, laser focused / obsessed about basketball. The reason why I'm talking about this is because I went to college. All I was thinking about was playing basketball. I wasn't thinking about what was I going to do next and all of those things. So, that's really what I wanted to do. I had to figure it out as I've gone along.
That's awesome. So do you have a purpose that drives you to be a leadership coach?
Yeah, you were so kind in the way that you introduced me, and you spoke to that, which is about like authentic experiences that I can create. And when I talk about experiences, folks, I'm talking about every engagement I have with you, every conversation, every interaction. I work to make that authentic. And it is purpose driven for me because it's about how can I help to create an environment where you are engaging and you're desiring to evolve, all in pursuit of optimal performance. And when I say optimal performance, this isn't about perfection, even though, again, it's optimal performance means that you're always tweaking your game. You're adding new tools to your toolbox, skills, so that you're constantly looking to evolve. It's not about, oh, we just get to a level and oh, here we are. So that's really what I feel is a purpose driven element of, my existence.
Okay, so tell us what SLG is all about.
So I actually started SLG Impact, which is my kind of just refer to it as a consulting company. So again, as you mentioned, I do leadership coaching, I do revenue growth consulting, and I do have a podcast. It's called This with Shauna Griffiths. And the name SLG Impact is literally, this is my initials, Shauna Lee Griffiths. And I was sitting on the couch one night with my husband when I had been laid off and needed to figure out my next steps. And I was like, well, I'm going to kind of lean into my superpowers of what I do well. That was a mixture at that time of coaching, marketing, and partnerships. And so I named it what I did because I was like, what do I actually want to do in this world? And it is just simply to make a positive impact on the people and the companies that I'm working with. So that's like how I started it. Again, with evolution as, something that I live and breathe. It's evolved over the years. Again, I started at the beginning of COVID after layoff, and have evolved it over time as I gained more skills, as I've evolved my coaching, as I've evolved my offerings for organizations. So to this day now, it is a mixture, as I said, of my show, This with Shauna Griffiths, which is all about, again, real talk, real leaders. We break down hot topics that are aimed at helping you to take your game to the next level. I actually started that because I was so sick and tired of what I was seeing in the seat of leadership. And I wasn't seeing the inclusion and diversity in the space.
Honey, can you get on LinkedIn, please, and see if everything is okay? Continue, Shauna.
Yeah, so I was just like talking about with SLG Impact, what, the elements of it. So it's my coaching, the consulting, the show that was born out of wanting to see more representation in the seat of leadership, just more visibility to the representation that exists. So again, so I've evolved it over time, and that's what I'm doing now. It's all, again, aimed at maximizing the impact and my contribution and impact that I can have with people and organizations.
That's awesome. So, kudos to you. And I take my hat off to you for starting this during the pandemic. I mean, that was a time when, there was a tremendous amount of fear on starting anything business wise and making that transition. So how were you able to do that?
Yeah, I'm actually glad that you said the word fear, because I've been thinking about this a lot lately. So much is really sparked about what happens in the face of change, what happens in the face of the rapid pace of the world and access to information. And a lot of times we can, as humans, we can go into fear mode, which a lot of times has us moving from a place of scarcity. And so, I truly did allow myself to cry and feel bad for myself for about 3 days. And then I got sick and tired of feeling that way. And I just moved into a place of, well, what am I going to do about it? And more of a shifting into a place of possibility. And nobody's going to do it for me. And this is where, my athletic background, I think it comes into play. And part of what I've created is Leadership Athlete, as you mentioned earlier, which is a mindset that it already exists. I'm just talking about it. And that is to bring that athlete mindset to the table. That's what I did to start this. I was like, well, I better get in the gym and start learning new moves and start getting in my reps and, showing up every day. And that's really, that's what I did. I didn't really have a choice in my mind, which is to sit back and I'm not really sure what it would have been, do nothing, because I was applying for jobs, but there were a need to be had at that point, So, and so it just, again, it comes down to what am I going to do every single day to get out of my way, to continue to evolve, and it's all about how do you show up every day, and that's how I started it.
Okay, so what kind of clients do you work with?
So in the coaching space, well, actually, I will say both the coaching and the consulting space, I like to work with people who want to do the work. And I know that might sound really simple or even silly, but there's a lot of times that people come and they might show up, but they're hesitating and they're actually like on their heels and they're looking for you to give them all the answers. Like, I'm not in the advice giving business per se, in the coaching space. In the consulting space, it's a bit different. But is somebody going to come and show up and do the work? Like, if in the coaching space, I can't make you get out of your own way. We're going to have conversations. We're going to have conversations about what's working, what's not. I use an assessment tool called the GC Index, which is phenomenal. And it really helps you to understand where your natural energy is, so that you can kind of get away from saying you're good or bad, judging yourself, feeling like, oh, well, that's just how I am. Well, it might be how you are, but why? Where does that come from? So if you understand yourself more, that can really help
Oh yeah,
you
I'm
to
off
do the
screen.
work.
Okay, so what is a leadership athlete?
So a leadership athlete, as I mentioned, it's a mindset and it's available to all of you out there. Leadership athlete mindset is available to you. It's just a matter of, does it resonate with you, and do you want to embody that? So, a core component of it is coachability. And folks, coachability is not just for the people who you are leading, who have to be coachable and have to
Well, you can
listen
see
to
it.
what you're saying and do the things that you're saying. So much about coachability is even within you.
No,
Like,
no,
are
no.
you
Everything is black
coachable?
on this background.
Are you coachable? Are you doing the things,
Change the background.
getting to know yourself a bit? Are you getting to know, how do you respond to things? How are
It's our show,
you,
honey,
what are the
not my show.
choices that you're making every day? And so, I think though that's about coachability. So, but other elements that are resilience, and wanting to, like I said earlier, get in the gym, air quotes, the gym of life, the gym of work, and getting your reps, practice. It's like, the mindset has you thinking that you probably always are going to need someone who's there to help coach you. If you think about high performing athletes, we just got done watching the Olympics, right? Those people got there, they weren't grandfathered in. I will just say, as it probably is a blanket statement, they did the work. And we, as like bystanders, can see that. And we have an idea of what they put in to do that. And they're constantly looking to get better, right? Someone goes and wins a gold one year. 4 years later, they want to win it again. They want to break their time. They're competing against themselves. So this is the mindset of a leadership athlete. And again, like, you don't have had to have been an athlete to be a leadership athlete in the world and in business. It's a mindset that you choose to have and work on every single day. Just like you would a sport.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, what are some of the challenges that you've seen people have that you've worked with?
Yeah. It's a really good one because I've been thinking about it a lot. And I talked about it a little bit earlier about this idea of time, like shrinking time and that related to possibility. So we have so many tools in this day and age that are collapsing time. There's an awesome guy, friend of mine, Michael Opperman, Mo, who is a leader in the AI space. And he talks about how AI collapses time. So we're faced with that. And some people were like, oh my God, that's possibility. How exciting. How are we going to fuel, what we're doing next? But other people, that can feel like really scary. And so this concept, and when you're scared, a lot of times, again, you go into that scarcity mindset. And then you're also looking for like, you press panic buttons. So, I think those are things that I think are everybody's facing. And again, it's like a lack of patience often comes when time is collapsing. When we think that we have to do everything faster, collapsing time doesn't mean that you have to do everything faster. Sometimes it means that you can just be more efficient and effective as you go along. So I think a lot of leaders are really challenged by what to do when things are like, everything seems like it's going faster, or there's less time. And some people are trying to collapse time when other people are like trying to, slow time down. They're trying to cram more into time. So, again, I think it's a real dilemma that people are having, leaders are having, which I think also relates to the speed of information and getting information. Again, there's like a lack of patience there that leaders, that younger generations who are coming up have. And so, it just creates a lot of dissonance, I think. So, and a lot of times that can be somewhat people who are in leadership. I hear a lot of people saying that they don't really understand the next generations who are coming up. How are they operating? Things like that. So This is why I have things like the GC index to help us understand our own energy and help us understand the people that we're working with, their energy. These are some of the tools that help us to deal with these common problems, these common problems that don't necessarily have simple answers.
Yeah, I think that time management is something that all of us entrepreneurs have to deal with and struggle with as well. Do you recommend journaling? What other kinds of things do you recommend that people can do in order to better manage their time?
Yeah. I think there's literally the element of managing time, which is how do you hack your day? So if you know that you have more energy for creative thinking and that kind of thing, and you don't have very much energy for implementing things, then you actually need to carve out specific time when you can do the things that you don't have as much energy for. You don't want to do those things when you're exhausted at the end of the day, or when you'd really rather be like coming up with creative ideas and things like that. So some of it again comes to hacking your day, hacking your week. You might have, as an entrepreneur, folks, you may have certain days that you answer emails in the morning and you focus on other work in the afternoon. So you have to figure out what works best for you. That's why it's really helpful to know your own energy, how you tick. The other thing is just a lot about, like, it's so funny that we just talk about time, but sometimes it's like slowing down and observing yourself, because we all need to build build a toolbox of things that work for us. So to your point, journaling can be great for some people. It's not great for me. Part of how I air quotes journal is what I post on LinkedIn, what I post elsewhere. So, and it comes in the form of my show. So we all have to figure out what are those things. But a huge thing I think is, like, turn off the noise, find opportunity to get quiet, be curious. These are things that, again, it's not necessarily an act that I can say, sit down and be curious. It's how do you bring these things to the table? And a lot of these things are again, they're characteristics of leadership athletes. Like, have a curious mindset. How do you, think about things? How do you not just react, but you actually pause for a moment and think, okay, where's this feeling coming from? How do I actually want to proactively, act or respond or address something? And I think those are things that we have to figure out over time and test. And so some of that is also a willingness to, sometimes it's a willingness to, like, take risks where I'm going to try something. And if it's not perfect or it's not the right thing for this moment or for me, then I'm going to try something else next time.
Well, I think that, when it comes to trying new things, again, the biggest thing that stops people is fear. So how can you combat this fearful mindset of trying new things and putting yourself out there and taking a risk?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And to me, it comes down to asking yourself, what story am I telling myself? What's the narrative? I work with a coach who's phenomenal. His name is Leslie Harris. He's been my coach for close to 10 years. And he's just been a great force of impact for me and the things that he's told me over time. So sometimes it's a matter of saying, okay, how am I in my own way? What do I need to do, to do things differently? And again, it's like he says, if it's your story, then you can change the narrative. You can set the narrative. So sometimes that fear is just because we're telling ourselves, well, this, and this could happen. But really, is there truth in that? Am I making that up? And why am I making that up? Does that have to be the way it is? So again, those are things that I think become really important, but that's work that you have to do as a person. I can't be in those moments with people all the time, but that's why it's so important to be coachable, so that you can actually, like, pick these things up and then try them. So, I think those are some of the things to combat fear, is to just ask yourself simply, is this true? Is there truth in this?
Mm,
Or what other possibility could there be?
that's great advice. Okay, so tell us about Creative Leadership League and why did you co-create it?
Yeah, so the Creative Leadership League, I'm so excited about this one, the new one. It is a coaching program and retreat for women leaders. And it's the first time in my journey that I actually wanted to create something or felt really driven to create something specifically for women leaders. I've always had a client base that is, male, female. A lot of times it's skewed more male. I think it's a bit of my background. I come from a background of male dominated areas of business in sports entertainment and agency world. But this one, we are at a time right now where, women are being more recognized. There's a lot of pressure. We've got a lot going on. And I think there's a mixture of hope as well as just talk about fear. There's a bit of fear. Well, what's going to happen if? And so what my co-founder, Alex Jameson, who is a Changeforce colleague of mine and a dear friend, she and I co-founded it. We're co-coaching it. So it's a 4-month program. There's group coaching, individual coaching. There's going to be a workshop in New York City. It's all about bringing women together to be able to be kind of like sparks for one another. We're going to do a lot. It is about creative leadership. So what do you need to do to be an effective leader today and leader of the future is be creative. Be creative in the way that you're open to trying new things. Be creative in the way that you put teams together. That requires inclusivity. So it's a bringing that in and sparking that within people. We'll do some fun creative exercises. We're going to kick it off with the GC Index Challenge, which is, you can book time with me and Alex if you want to know more about what that is. We're going to do some like an art tour. We're going to do some art activities, creative exercises. Again, because what we want to do is make it highly actionable so that people can leave the retreat and continue in the 4-month program and really like see a transformation inside. So really excited about that. Just kicked off the registration last week. The program begins October 4th. So, please reach out to me if you're interested, anybody.
That's awesome. So you have a special offer for everybody watching this broadcast. So I'm just going to announce this. Take $250 off the registration for a Creative Leadership League with the code CIRCLE250. So this can be this actually is broadcast on LinkedIn as well as YouTube. So you can see it both places if you missed this broadcast. But tell us about that.
Yeah. So, it's just something that I like to do, is to give a special offer to a coveted audience like yours, Jason. So, it's an honor for me to be able to come on and share this. So folks, again, I think it's not a huge offer, but it is something that is extended with positive intent. So if you go to the landing page you can go to changeforce.ai. There's a banner at the top. You can click to the page, but you can learn more about the program, and then you'll click to registration where you can enter the offer code CIRCLE250 when you register for the $250 off.
Awesome. So what are some key takeaways we can leave the audience with until the return of our next episode on coachability?
Yeah. So folks, I think, again, think about like, how well do you know yourself? And the more you can think about that and make space for that, and because at the end of the day, you're working to maximize your contribution impact on the business and the people who are in your care. So if you can start to get curious about that, we talked about that. If you can start to meet new opportunities and change instead of with fear, but more with this idea of possibility and what if, and not just get curious about other people, but get curious about your own reactions and your own instincts. I think those are just some basic elements. And, if the leadership athlete mindset resonated with you, I post about it a lot. So I encourage you to connect with me, follow me on LinkedIn. But it is available to you folks. And, again, it's a mindset that will help to, dictate how you're showing up every day, and really have really will fuel your pursuit of optimal performance in how you impact people and organizations.
Wonderful. So, we're into this last quarter of the year. What is some advice that you give people, facing the end of this year? It's only months away.
I'm so glad you said that. I literally just posted about this yesterday over the weekend. I was thinking about it, where it's like, that saying, stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Right.
Staying ready is exactly what happens when you have this leadership mindset, this leadership athlete mindset, because it's like every single month right now counts. Yes, the year is ending, but you got September, October, November, December, where you got to show up and do your best and do your best for yourself, for others, for the organization, or even more globally. So, make it count and don't wait. Don't wait until middle of December or early January to start planning for what you're going to do in the year ahead. And remember, you're on a journey of becoming who you're meant to be. And so that requires that you show up and you make the best of every day. So I'm just telling you folks, whether it's in the coaching realm that I do, you're trying to evolve yourself to be the best that you can be, then start now. With every single day. On the consulting side of things, I work in revenue growth. Don't wait to figure out what you're going to do to impact your revenue for 2025. In January, you're already like on the sidelines instead of being in the game where you need to be and where you want to be. So start now. That's the gist.
Yeah, I think that's the best advice that anybody can receive. For instance, back last December, I had the thought of creating Freedom Fight Expo in person. That was the
Okay.
original idea. And God was like, listen, do not wait until 2025, start now. And
Start
so I
now.
started online this past February.
Yeah.
And so going into 2025, we've already built a network of people that are interested in this event. It just makes perfect sense to start early. Don't wait until, next year, 2026.
Exactly. And it's interesting because that shortening the gap in time, sometimes people are like, "Oh, well, I'll just put it off until later because I have these tools now that can make it go faster for me." But here's the thing, and you still need to start now because then you'll free up and be able to do other things, or maybe you can be more effective and efficient with your planning. So I just think it's so important to your point about start now. And as you're talking, Jason, you are a leadership athlete. You've got that mindset. You're out there showing up every day for yourself, for others, for all of us who you impact by the platforms you create, by you talked about this event that you're doing. You see possibility. You're looking at like maybe some doubts or fears that can show up and you're like, well, does it have to look like that? Well, maybe my event can happen this way or that way. And so,
Right.
you're a testament to the power of the leadership athlete mindset and to putting in that work. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for sharing with us, how you've been able to do that. It's awesome.
Thank you so much. Special thanks to everybody in the audience watching this program. Mary Messner made a really, really nice comment. This program sounds phenomenal. I cannot wait to talk with you and Alex to learn more.
Hey, Mary, she's amazing. Talk about like a firepower. She's doing amazing things in the Kansas City area and beyond
Nice.
and beyond.
Awesome. So Megan Clark, Shauna, your advice and wise words are so impactful. You are doing such exciting work. Thank you.
Oh, Megan, you're awesome. You keep shining and you're on your path and it's so awesome to see. Thank you.
So any last words for our audience, Shauna?
Yes, thank you again so much for joining today and come
Yes.
back because we are continuing the show Coachability. So if I stumble a little bit today, folks, I will improve. That is my commitment. Today was only my second live. So thank you so much for joining. And please come back and share more time in the Coachability with me and Jason.
Shauna, you did a wonderful job. Stumbling, forget it. You did an awesome job. Thank you so much for being on this show. I'm looking forward to the future episodes. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back next week at the same time, 10 o'clock Eastern. Don't miss it. We will be back soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching Coachability with Shauna Griffiths. Don't forget to like, share, and comment, and subscribe for more post notifications. See you next time.